The first time that we saw Anthem was at E3 2017, and like a lot of people, I was very intrigued to see what it was all about. We saw gameplay, but there wasn't too much information about the game and what to expect. Fast forward a year, and this time around, we not only got new gameplay, but also plenty of information about the game and the history behind it, and today, I was very lucky enough to actually play the game running on PC with SLI Nvidia graphics at 4K resolution on a 50-inch TV screen, and it looked incredible, and I'm happy to say that it was very satisfying to play on first impressions. Now, what I got to play was a long version of the demo that they showed at the EA Play press conference, and also the footage that you're seeing now, so I thought that I'd let you guys know about the game and some hands-on first impressions. First up, it's being made by BioWare, so you already know that the story stands a good chance of being fantastic, as BioWare are probably most well known for the Mass Effect games, and the devs making this game are the ones that worked on the original Mass Effect trilogy. Now, BioWare are messaging that this is an action RPG game, and from my 20-minute play session I'd agree with that. To me it felt like a mashup of different elements of Destiny, The Division and Titanfall, and that's an interesting looking baby. So in Anthem you play as a freelancer, and your job is a pretty simple one. You've got to explore the uncharted world and protect humanity, so no big deal then. Now, as a freelancer, you're equipped with exosuits called Javelins, and each one of these Javelins provides you with a set of different weapons and abilities. The 4 Javelins that you can play as in the game when it launches are the Ranger, the Colossus, the Infiltrator and the Storm. So in the demo that I played today, I played as the Ranger, and it's basically Iron Man mixed with War Machine. You had a couple of different weapons to choose from, a primary and a secondary. The ability on the left bumper was a freeze grenade, and the ability on the right bumper was basically the thing Iron Man does where he goes with his hand. You know exactly what I mean. And then you've got an ultimate ability which builds over time, and I don't know if you guys ever played the Panzer Dragoon games, but basically you press LB and RB at the same time and highlight anything that's on your screen, and then hundreds of rockets just fire out of a massive weapon out of your javelin and just annihilate everything on the screen. 10 out of 10. You could also dash with the Ranger too, and you can do stuff like flying around and hovering and shooting and hovering and melee attacks and all the things that you would expect from an action RPG. Apparently there are pilot levels, which is your person, and there are javelin levels as well, and you can customize all of the abilities and stuff on the suits, but we'll get into that a bit later. There's crime happening outside, guys. It's interrupting my commentary. Can you hear it? This is the constant struggle of trying to be a YouTuber in Los Angeles. Can crime just stop? Crime, it's time to stop. Thank you. Now, one of the other Javelins is the Colossus, and that's far bigger and comes with massive weaponry that can deal some real damage. And the idea is that if you're playing in co-op, you would pick a Javelin that would work well with your friends, because there's all sorts of combo attacks that will do mad damage. So the core design of Anthem is pretty similar to games like Destiny. It's a co-op live service game with classes, or in this case Javelins. The big difference though here is that in Destiny, if you pick a class, let's say a Warlock, then that's the class that you have to stick with until you roll a new character. You can't just change to a Hunter for a certain mission and then change back. You kind of have to lock into that character, but the core design of Anthem means that you're a pilot and the suit is essentially a tool. So depending on what you're feeling on the day, or what mission you're doing, or what javelins your teammates are using, you can completely switch up your javelin and change it to be whatever you want. So in Anthem, they're not locking you down to a class. It's kind of like play however you want to play, whenever you want to play. So I think that this game is designed to be more fun when playing in co-op multiplayer, but if you wanted to just hop into it and play the story on your own, then that's something that you can also do. If you're solo and you head out into the main world, it's definitely going to be a bit harder than if you had friends with you, but it can be done if that's how you'd rather play, by yourself. I get the feeling though that you'd definitely have a better experience with friends. In the level we played when we were coming up against like the bigger boss characters or the tougher enemies that had different weak spots and stuff, you can see how coordinating different attacks and comboing abilities would definitely help in certain combat situations. Now, if you do decide to play with your friends, then you're going to have two different experiences. When out in the world, you're going to be playing together, doing missions, killing enemies, and generally just progressing through the story. And then at times you're going to head back to the base. And in the EA Play demonstration, the base was called Fort Tarsis. When you get back to the base, this is when you're going to turn in rewards. I guess these are from doing missions, or perhaps they're picked up from killing enemies like in Destiny. When I played the game, there was stuff dropping on the ground and I was picking it up, so I think that's how that works. But on the base, you'll also talk to characters and make decisions, customize your javelin, and see the results of the decisions that you've made. This is a BioWare game after all, so expect some conversation options, I would guess. One thing the developers wanted to stress though is that this isn't an MMO, nor is it a multiplayer game with story just patched in. It's something new and a bit different. So live service is something that's been mentioned quite a lot when it comes to Anthem, and that to me means a game where new content and events are constantly added in to change and evolve and improve the experience and give players new things to check out. So the game is designed in a way that means BioWare can add in new story elements for years to come. That could mean a story arc related to a character that you've already had dealings with, or perhaps an entirely new story arc, or perhaps an event in the world that deepens the lore. And speaking of lore, what is this world about? Well, it's described as a world left unfinished by the gods, but there's a catch, there's always a catch. The gods left behind their huge tools, and these tools are in conflict with a force called the Anthem of Creation. The force of these two things fighting against each other means that the world is constantly being reshaped, and as such you will encounter giant mutated creatures and huge storms. So you're going to need those javelins to survive. Now in the gameplay there were some big monsters, a kind of lava giant thing, and also a spider arachnid boss that we had to fight at the end that had different weak spots and sent out waves of ads to try and kill you. So you've got big bosses as well as several different enemy types that we already know about called Scars. In fact, in the mission that we played, the Scars had put together an acid-based super weapon, and of course we had to go in and deal with it. And there are at least 4 different inhabitants in the game: the Freelancers, the Scars, the Dominion and the Sentinels. Speaking of the world though, BioWare are saying that it's fully dynamic and running on the Frostbite engine, and they want it to be different every time that you play it. So think day and night cycle, think full weather, and even seasons. The cool thing about this is that they want to make it feel like it's happening now, and they want it to be synced across all players, so it's a shared world. So everyone that's playing Anthem at any given moment would experience the same world. So in one season it might be summer and there's loads of fauna and it's very colourful, but you might go and revisit that place when it's winter and the whole interior and the level design has completely changed and evolved. Now I know what you're thinking when you see those exosuits. Can I customise them? Well, the short answer is yes, and honestly, more than I expected. You can give your javelin a coat of paint and honestly make them look incredibly unique. Not only that, but you can change the colour and design, but you can also alter the actual core design of the javelin as well to ensure that you look completely different to all of the other players around you. The next logical question is loot boxes then. Well, thankfully they don't exist in Anthem, and you can buy cosmetic and vanity items, but you will always know what you're buying, and as such loot boxes will not be making an appearance in the game. I know another pressing question around the corner from Mass Effect fans: will there be romance options in this game? Sorry to disappoint you, but there will not be. Anthem's lead producer, Mike Gamble, said that there will be friendships that you can create, similar to what was done with the Mass Effect Citadel DLC, but there isn't going to be any romance-based story elements in Anthem, as they're trying to just move away from that. Any PvP in this game? Well, not at launch as far as we know, but I'd hazard a guess that at some point BioWare will add PvP elements to this game. I think people will eventually just want it, but a game like this doesn't need it, and it can just be its own thing, as a co-op action RPG with loot elements. Finally, when can you play this game? Well, it is launching next year, so you will have some time to wait, February 22nd to be specific, and it's going to release on PS4, Xbox One and PC. And I have to admit that after playing the game today, I'm a lot more excited than I was before I got my hands on the game. It was a lot more polished and interesting than I had expected. I did enjoy Destiny when it first came out, and although I don't play it as much as I used to, I am interested to see how a similar game like Anthem, at least on the surface, could do things quite differently or perhaps even better. Only time will tell though. I'm very interested to hear what everyone thinks of Anthem though, but we have to remember that this is still quite a way away from launch. Next February is a long way away, and over the next few months perhaps Gamescom is where we'll begin to see a lot more in-depth gameplay video and details. Hopefully they'll begin to allow direct capture then, and maybe that's when we can start to get more of an understanding of what exactly this game is and how it will all work together. So that's all for today folks. Like I said, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, give me a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.